Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the SoFLo Sports Show. It's your host, 305 Sports Babe, co-host Lou from Dade. Super excited to have you guys on tonight. We have a lot going on in this episode, a special guest. But before we get into anything football related, we do want to send our thoughts and prayers to our friend Ian Berger, Big E, who is battling cancer right now, and then who's also waiting for a liver. So our thoughts and prayers go out to our friend Big E, which we'll talk about again a little later on, and we're running a fundraiser for him. So stay tuned for that.
Yep, we're all thinking about Big E. Fan of the year, but bigger than that, he's a great person, and so he needs a lot of support from everyone. And so Dolphins community always gets together, and so our thoughts and prayers are with Big E.
Definitely. All right, guys. So tonight on the show, we have a very special guest. I mean, if you haven't been able to figure it out by now, over my left shoulder, on Lou's chest, on our wrist, one of our great friends, Dolphin legend, Richmond Webb.
Yeah, and so, he really needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway because he deserves it, okay? First round selection from the Miami Dolphins, 9th overall in the 1990 draft, 11 seasons in the aqua and orange. He's a 7-time Pro Bowler. Mm-hmm. He's a 2-time first-time All-Pro, 2-time second-time All-Pro. All right, 163 games started, voted all decades in the 1990s. Miami Dolphins honor roll, which of course comes with an aqua jacket, but we are trying to get him that gold jacket and trying to get him enshrined in Canton where he belongs.
Get that bust.
Absolutely. That's going to be fabulous. And so without further ado, let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend, number 78, Richmond Webb.
Hey, what's happening? How y'all doing?
Oh, we're doing good. How you doing?
I am doing extremely well, and I echo those comments you made about Big E. He's such a wonderful individual, and he's one of the few Dolphin fans that when I met him, that actually looked me eye to eye. I was surprised he was that tall. So I said, yeah, he's just a heart of gold, and everybody loves him, and you don't just get to be fan of the year, but it's more than that. Way he's just a great individual, and like you said, everybody's praying for him. So I think it's great. I saw where they're raising money with the bracelets and stuff like that. So that's just amazing. So definitely let's support our brother and keep him in our prayers, because him and his family definitely can use those.
No, definitely. He is a strong man, and he needs all the faith and the prayers that we send him. So good vibes going out to Big E. So definitely.
Yes.
You didn't really go off his accolades. There's a lot to say there. I mean, that was like a whole script there.
He deserves it. I wish, he had actual stats like other position players, which would make this case a lot easier. But his resume speaks for itself. And yes, he deserves them all.
Perfect. All right, Richmond. So let's get into it. First of all, I hope you have great luggage because you're going to be needing it soon. You are going to be doing a lot of traveling. I got to talk to Nat more because he needs to put you on payroll for the Alumni Association. All the traveling you're going to be doing. So for those who don't know yet, Richmond is actually going to be going to Madrid this November as our Miami Dolphins take on the Washington Commanders. So tell us about, first of all, how that happened. Have you ever been to Spain? And what are you going to be doing out there besides obviously watching the game?
Well, I actually just got a call. So I think possibly, I think Sean Wooden knows the guy that owns Executive Global Tours. And I'm sure he recommended some players that would possibly be good candidates to take over. So not for sure, but I'm pretty sure Sean had something to do. So great teammate. And he always looks out for me. But it's a trip to Madrid, Spain. I've never been. I've had friends that's, taking the trip to there and like Barcelona, and they said, man, you're going to have a great time, great food, but they're going to have different activities and stuff. Now, I'm not a golfer, but the food and wine and stuff like that, I won't be hard to find, in that part.
They call the tapas out there, the tapas.
Whatever they call it with the food and wine, that's where I'll be.
Tapas and vino.
Yeah, and just hanging out. Even like we did at Kent last year for Zach, or when I came down, if it's Dolphin fans, we always gonna have a good time. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I know we got the greatest fan base. I don't need to even sample the other ones. Just the way I've interacted with different people from not only just in South Florida, but all over Mexico, California, whatever. We've got the greatest fan base, so can't nobody tell me different. So I'm definitely really excited and hyped up about it, and then get to experience Spain. I think the only few times I've been to Japan, I've been to Berlin and Mexico City, but all those were to play football games in the preseason. So yeah, I guess this will be my first. I've been to the Caribbean, like Bahamas, Jamaica, but this will be my first time going over there. So I'm looking forward to it. All I've heard is good things, so I'm definitely looking forward to it.
No, and they say the weather's going to be a little on the chillier side, so don't expect to go out there South Florida weather, but there's a huge number of Miami Dolphin fans going out there. In fact, I think more fans are going to that game than any of the local away games. And then you got to remember our international base, such as our fans from England, our fans from France, Dan with his boys from France, like they're all going to be there. So it is truly going to be a Dolphins takeover in Spain. And I'm so excited that you're going to be out there. So have a lot of fun out there.
Yep.
And then
any spots still available, Richmond, with the people that
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you can contact Executive Global Tours. I don't have the number, but I believe it's egtours.com. I'll pull it up and find and give you the website and the number before we get off. But yeah.
Lou, we cannot go. We're already going to 4 away games. Information. We can't go. Like, come on. Lou, we're doing 4 already, okay?
Come on, Lou. Come on. You got a 4-piece already. That's a breast, wing, leg, and a thigh. Now you got to let somebody else.
He's a greedy man, though. But you're going to have a blast. I can't wait to see all the pictures. And like you said, when you were talking about, the Dolphin fans, we should have a great time. I almost wanted to say, because that's what Stone Cold said so. Like, you were so adamant about that. And, in Houston, we had such a blast.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Houston.
Houston, we really had a blast. That was a good time. And, fans still talk about that, and we're so grateful that you came to the party. And it was a takeover. We took over that bar, the Drift Bar.
I need to reach back out to that guy because you remember he was starting a fan base here in Houston.
Yes.
I gave my contact information, but I hadn't heard anything. So I need to try to get
We'll get you in contact. We'll connect you. So, and then also, Richmond, you are going to be in Charlotte with TPP and Danny Johnson.
Yep.
They're doing FanFest 6 out there. So, that's going to be a great time. And you're going to be there that weekend. So a lot of fun connecting with Dolphin fans in Charlotte as well.
And his daughter actually lives out there, too. So it's going to be a nice, are you going to bring her around us crazy people or are you going to leave her away from us?
I think I know her and her mom going to hang out. I'm pretty sure they're going to come. They're going to come hang out. And but yeah, she just moved there in June and she loves it's a beautiful city and I think it's got a good change of seasons. So she's in a happy place, but so far everything's good. I ain't heard any complaints. So she's loving Charlotte.
So Lou's never been there. I've been there many times. You've been there. It was actually one of the cities that I was looking at moving to. It's fantastic. I mean, she's in a great growing market and it's just amazing. So I'm happy for her. And then you're also coming up for Fans Club Weekend, which you've done that before. I mean, that's just exciting to bring it back, all the boys, alumni, and that's just a great, great weekend. So excited that you're coming to that. And then you may be going to another home game against the Bills. So we'd love to see you there. So you're busy too.
I'm busy and I'm gonna tell you, I think the first time I came down a couple years and everybody kept telling me about East 12. I was like, man, what in the world is East 12? And I said,
what type of game is that?
It's where everybody tailgate. I said, oh, okay. I seen the sign. I said, okay, but man, that thing is lit. And the very first time I went, a couple got married at East 12. That was Chef Jew and his wife. And I was
we were there.
Yes.
It threw me off. I said, okay. expect the unexpected if you tailgate with the Miami Dolphins. That's what I'm gonna tell you right there.
Everything happens there. No, it is that what happens in East 12 stays in East 12. It's just a blast. Like it is. I tell visiting fans, I say, first of all, you're welcome. You're welcome to come down our road. Nothing's gonna happen to you, but it's gonna be unforgettable, and no one does it like us. So that is such a big part, and we're excited. Richmond, I want to talk to you about a little more about the international. So you mentioned you played in Mexico City, Tokyo, and Berlin. So how does the team prepare the players to go for those international trips? I mean, what do they kind of tell you? How do you interact with the fans out there? What is it like traveling international with the Miami Dolphins?
I think the biggest difference, and I think it's a lot tougher on these guys than when I played. The only thing was tougher when I played was that we typically went during the preseason. So you hadn't trimmed down to your 53-man roster or whatever. But we went over there. I think we went to Tokyo. We practiced against the Raiders. We played the Raiders. So we got a week of, it was a way like, our teams work against each other in practice during the training camp. So we did that. And then I just remember being hot and humid in Tokyo. But for the most part, it was okay. I didn't venture off too far from the hotel, but walked around a little bit. And then I think in Denver, we played Berlin. And then later on, we played Denver again in Mexico City. And I remember me and Zach and Terrell Davis from the Broncos,
of course,
like early to kind of promote the game. And that was pretty cool, get to hang out with him. And we had a great time, but I've never had a bad experience, internationally, just interacting with people and stuff like this. So I think the toughest thing is that it's a regular season game, and either you lose a home game or, whatever, because somebody's got to give up a home game and this and that, and just traveling in the middle of the year and then you got to get back. I think that's a little tough on the body because normally you don't have a chance to recover. You fly 8-9 hours, play the game, and then you right back. So I think it's tougher on these guys here, but they've been doing it, and it wouldn't surprise me if the NFL eventually expands and start putting a couple of teams over there because they doing more than testing it, but they keep adding games more and more. So
I've heard it. Yeah, as long as the Super Bowl doesn't go overseas.
No, they
That's
will never.
No. You got to keep the Super Bowl here.
You know what I was just thinking? I'm thinking you in Tokyo, where those people are probably just looking up to you, thinking,
I was looking down. I was like, man, it was like so many people. I could just see all these little dark heads, because they had. Oh my goodness. Everybody was cool. It was just a little different. But I'll tell you this, and I think, was it me? But they had a sumo wrestler come out to practice, and this guy was about my height, but he was like
wide.
But they would probably be like a Tom Brady or a Dan Marino over here. You know what I'm saying? How all the women just love, Oh yeah. You the man. I was like, man, I'm living.
I mean, I like my men chunkier too, but I don't know if that's sumo style.
I'd have to get real chunky, but I could have been the man over there in Tokyo, but I don't know if I want to be no sumo wrestler with that string going up,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Richard. You got to wear the uniform too.
Oh gosh. Anyways, before I turn to there's a question in the chat. Robert, a good friend of ours, wants to know, Richmond, what's your thoughts about being mentioned in Jack Ryan?
That was I mean, you in the movie, and it was right at the beginning of the movie. And I remember when that movie came out, because one of my buddies, he went to go see the movie, and he told me, he said he was watching, the intro comes on, they're on the plane, a helicopter, whatever, and they start talking about tackles. I'm like, man, who talks about tackles in football? It's the running backs, quarterbacks, and then it caught him by surprise. It's almost like, how you hear it and you think you hear it, and he didn't, and it was pretty. But he came back and told me, he said, man, they mentioned your name in the movie, so that was pretty cool. And it's a really good movie. But yeah, it was pretty cool to get mentioned in that. They didn't call me or nothing. I don't know why, but somebody must be a Dolphin fan or something. But yeah, it was pretty cool. They mentioned me in that. That was pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so your next call into Hollywood.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead.
That's coming up next. All right, so let's get down to business here. Football's finally back. The Miami Dolphins are going to play football on Sunday, preseason football, but still first game since it's last January. So we're getting progress here. But before that, they're going to do a joint practice tomorrow with the Chicago Bears. And so from a team's perspective, Richmond, how does it feel after a couple of weeks with the pads on to finally get out there and hit other players on another team and not your own teammates? How does that feel for the football team?
Yeah, it's actually refreshing because you're tired of kind of going against your teammates. So it's kind of monotonous and this and that. And then you actually get to work against something. It's like, I don't know why, but it seemed like it just rejuvenation. We would do, morning, evening practice more. I know they just do one a days now, but just to get a chance to work against someone else, like say if I'm working against Jason Taylor or something, if he beats me, I know he's going to ease up and not hit my quarterback. You know what I'm saying? But this guy here, a lot of times they say don't hit the quarterback, but you got some knuckleheads and stuff like that. So, oh man.
Yeah.
You know, John.
We know it's not happening.
Hey, I started on Twitter today. I said, man, he already know how it is between Texas A&M and like, I give you a thumb. I give you that Aggie thumb, but I can't give you that hooker, man. You're gonna get me in trouble, bro. But it's actually refreshing and rewarding, and then it kind of lets you know that, okay, once you start playing the games, it seems like things speed up because you play a game, then you get back. The 2 days you're almost kind of, even if you're halfway through them, you will be through them, but you got a game and normally play games Thursday or Friday. So you have Sunday, a few more practices, and then you say, okay, let's go play another game. So it's actually good when you start to work against other teams. I look forward to that.
Perfect. LaWanda, Mama just joined us in the chat.
I seen her on Twitter talking about she missed it. She was a day early. You hadn't let her know.
No, she ain't never late. She said, let him in. You also have my grandmother from Daytona Beach, a big fan of yours. Daytona Beach checking in. Okay, Daytona Beach
in the house.
All right, so I want to jump to another question from the viewers. This question comes from Brent B, a friend of the show. Brent B wants to know, what was your favorite moment when you were playing? What is one moment that maybe you dream about or sticks out if you had to just pick one of your favorite moments as a Miami Dolphin?
I think one of my favorite moments, I think the first time I actually experienced doing the 2-minute drill in an actual live game. And, you work on it in practice, and, the defense sometimes kind of let you get your timing and stuff, but when it actually happened the first time, it happened so fast, I couldn't believe it. I think we went like 60, 70 yards, maybe a little bit over a minute, and scored a touchdown. And the speed of it, normally we get in the huddle from the timeout, so they punt, or they kick off to us, and then Dan normally gives us 2 plays. He gives the receivers what they got, and then we break the huddle, and then we snap the ball. As soon as he throws the ball, he's like on the ball. So now we got to back up, but then I got to run 15, 20 yards down the field, get back on the line, and he's, signals, line up over here, call another play. And so got a little winded because, Dan is quick fire, boom, 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 boom. And either he's going to make the defense call a timeout, or if they call it, you're going to either burn a timeout or he's going to just rip you to shreds. And so we scored that time, and I was like, man, we really did it. It was like, yeah. I ran the option. It was a heavy run team in college. So to, throw the ball, zip, 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 zip like that, that was one of my moments, because I couldn't believe it actually happened that fast. So I was I was in awe. I'm gonna tell you, I really was. I was in awe.
Oh, wow. Now staying with the topic of Dan Marino, that's actually another question that we did get from one of our viewers of the show and friend of the show, Mystico. Mystico wanted to know, how much pressure did you put on yourself on game day, knowing you were Danny's protector?
Oh, I think for me, like Lou said, I was a first round pick, and I think the thing with being a first round pick, you always want to prove that you're worthy of that pick, because the spotlight is on you for that season. So you already have that pressure. And then you come to Miami, and it's Don Shula and it's Dan Marino. And Dan was already a legend in Miami. And so in the back of my mind, I'm playing left tackle, blind side. I was happy that Keith was there with me, because we were 2 rookies on the same side. But at the same time, I was like, man, I don't want to get this guy. I don't want to be remembered like that, because if you get that guy hurt, that's the only memory that they're gonna have of you, and that was more pressure to me, I think, than anything. Was just trying to do my best. Not saying I didn't get beat, but just trying to limit that to as minimal as possible, because when somebody's a legend like that, you got a statue outside the stadium. You don't remember, oh yeah, I remember when you played, you the one who got our quarterback. I was like, no, I don't bet. But yeah, that was my motivation. That was part of my motivation.
That was your fuel to protect Big Dan back there.
And really, his only injury was because of the turf in Cleveland, not because you guys not holding him upright. So you did your part and then some. So that was fantastic.
And you know what, Lou? When he went down and I saw him on the ground, the first thing I did, I checked the big monitor up there, because I knew it was going to, and I was like, Lord, please don't let it be my man that hit this dude. I'm serious. That was the first thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know how bad it was at the time. You know what I'm saying? Because you see him down, but it's bad when they got to cart you off the field. But it's just like, man, please don't let this be. But nobody really hit him. He kind of just gave way. So it's just like, man.
Right. Yeah, it was a tough time, seeing that on TV, and oh man,
try being in person. He just told you about it.
I know. Just I'm giving him my experience, because the next thing I know, Scott Mitchell's coming in, and no disrespect to Scott Mitchell, but he's not Dan Marino, and the season just went down the hill after that. So, but again, besides the Cleveland turf, you always did your job. So that's all we could ask for as fans. Richmond, I want to take you back to training camp and the mindset that the Dolphins are in now, but also your time. You mentioned Jason Taylor, after going at it in practice and specifically training camp, did you ever have a rookie, an undrafted player come out trying to make a name for himself and try to, throw you down or do something to make a name for himself, to make the team? That's one part of the question. And the second part is, who was your toughest competition every day in practice? Was it Jason Taylor? Was it Tim Bowens? Who was the guy that gave you the most fits in practice and in training camp?
That's a good question.
Timbo was inside, so Keith and them had to deal with Timbo. Thank you. I didn't have to deal with Timbo. That's a blessing. But when I first got there, of course, Jeff Cross, he was a Pro Bowl player. Practiced against him, and then on the outside it was EJ Jr. and Hugh Green, and they wouldn't take it easy on me, because they was like, we got to get you ready to play. Yeah. And, play against guys like Bruce Smith, all the pass rushes and this and that. And so I was like, man, these guys are coming hard in practice, but it helped me adjust to the speed of the game, and it actually got me prepared. And but I wasn't loving it at first, because, it was already hot and humid down there, and I got to deal with these guys, and they were seasoned vets and could really play. But that helped me develop into the speed of the game and get ready. So they knew what they were doing, and I wasn't going to give them any slack talk, because, hey, I looked up to those guys, and they took care of me, and we really good friends. I always looked up to the guys that were older than me, because they kind of set the standard, and I was like, that's why we win a lot of games like that, because it's already, you just got to fall in line, and that's what I did.
Yeah, there was such good team dynamic and culture when you played with the Dolphins, and it's great to see, and you guys still talk about it, and you respected the veterans on the team, and you admired them, and so it all worked. It worked out well. Going to the peanut gallery again. Question from Max Lopez. Max wants to know. First of all, he wanted me to mention he admired you as a player, and you are great, which we know, Max. But he said, what was your most heartbreaking loss as a Miami Dolphin? Oof. What's one that still stinks today, where you're like, dang, man.
I'm going to say two. I'm going to say two, because I knew, and that was the AFC Championship game when we played Buffalo in Miami, because I know if we win that game, we get a shot to go to the Super Bowl, and that's the closest I ever got. And I think it hurt so much because we were at home, we had the home field advantage, and I'm like, we just didn't get the job done. And I tell people, I don't like Buffalo, but I respect them, because they just really had some really good teams back then. I think the game that really sticks out, other than that one, is the Jacksonville loss, when we lost up there, where it went to Seattle, in the playoffs, beat Seattle on the road, and then we came back, and then we couldn't do nothing right. It was like they did everything right, and we didn't. That was a bad, tough loss, and those two there kind of stick out to me.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and to follow up on that, I mean, who would ever thought still that 1993 championship game against Buffalo was the last Dolphin appearance in the championship game.
Stop.
It's just, who would have thought that, we wouldn't have been back by now? And to your point, I mean, back then, Hard Rock didn't have a roof. The seats were orange. I mean, a long, long time ago. And, that one stung big time. So I'm with you. Also, one that stands out was the game against the Chargers.
I remember
Pete
that one.
had a chance there, make that field goal at the end. And they had a safety in that game as well. And so that was a tough loss. But I'm with you. The Buffalo game was still entrenched in our thoughts here.
All right, moving forward to current day Dolphins. So Richmond, you were the one who announced Patrick Paul as our draft pick. So this year we have Patrick Paul to the left. We have Austin. What are you doing? Oh, no, Austin Jackson to the right. What are we feeling about Patrick Paul? I mean, do we feel like is he ready? I mean, he has to be, right? He has to be. But what do you feel about Patrick Paul this season?
Yeah, I think he's ready. From everything, I've heard a few, things on Twitter. So I hadn't saw any really practice stuff from Dolphin practice, but he's really been getting after it, and I think he's ready to take it to the next level. And I think it definitely helped with him studying up under Teron Armstead, one of the best that was in the game, to teach him some of the stuff, and then just be able to learn. He got his feet wet a little bit, but just kind of sit back, watch and grab all you can from him. And then also Austin Jackson, last year he was a little hurt, but the year before that, I thought he had a Pro Bowl type year. I mean, he really played extremely well. So we can keep those guys healthy. We should have two of the top tackle combinations in the league, because I think Patrick Paul is going to really have a good year. They just got to stay healthy.
Absolutely.
Talking about staying healthy, that's my next point. Tua, right? We're going all forward Tua. He is our starting quarterback, but our third string quarterback, Lou has a little obsession with his Quinn Ewers. Now, he did go to the other Texas school.
Yeah, he did.
Richard don't like him. Richard don't like him.
Gonna be tough for me for a guy.
I like him now. I like him now. As long as he ain't got no burnt orange up under that apple, we're gonna be all right. But yeah.
He's in the right orange now. No doubt. But Richard, go back to the line. So what about Jonas Avenaya? He played primarily from Arizona. Mm-hmm. He played the tackle position as well, and now he's being shifted into guard. Is that as big a transition as some people make it out to be? And, how did you have teammates that had to make that adjustment, and how difficult it is, or how smooth a transition it could be?
Yeah, I think he can make it. I think he was kind of projected as possibly being able to play tackle or guard. So he's definitely got the frame and stuff to get that done. And actually, I played guard my sophomore and junior year, and then right before my senior, they moved me out to tackle. And then after the senior year, I went to the Senior Bowl, and Buddy Ryan was my coach. And I was trying to convince him to let me play guard, because I always thought I played guard better than I did tackle. But he was like, no, everybody wants to see your tackle. So they wouldn't let me move back down. I was like, okay. But it's amazing. Sometimes they know what they're talking about, and I guess sometimes as a player you don't. So it worked out, and I just went with whatever they said. So it worked out. So I'm happy about that. But he should be fine. I think with him and they got him on the left with Patrick Paul. So they've been moving some people, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, the running back should be real happy getting behind right there.
Some big boys to run with. Yeah. So, and right now it's, as you mentioned, Patrick Paul at left, and then Jonas Avenaya at left guard. Aaron Brewer as the center. You got James Daniels that came over from Washington as a free agent. He's going to be at right guard, and then Austin Jackson hopefully is going to be able to be back before game one, and that'll round out the line. And then you got some depth out there. Liam Eichenberg, I know that his play was sometimes talked about poorly, but look, the guy played every position, played center, played guard, played tackle. So he's a guy that you could plug in if need be. But hopefully those big boys up front, as stated, are able to get the job done.
Oh, no question. And you said the right thing, Lou. I think the thing is not just having a good starting five, but you got to have some players, some depth, because injuries are just part of the game. And if you can plug a guy in even if it's for a game or two, it makes a huge difference when you can have a guy step in and kind of fill in until you get that starter back. So I think that's one of the things that kind of hurt us last year, is that we just didn't have the depth when certain guys went down in certain positions. It was a big drop off. And then when you're asking a guy that's really truly a backup that hadn't really started, he's got to step in there. You know, you can only get so much out of him, and it kind of reflected toward the end of, you know, the latter part of the season. We kind of saw that. But yeah, you're exactly right.
It's like the next man up. You know, you always have to be ready to be the next man up, and you are right. There was kind of like a lag to that. Instead of being on your toes thinking what have happened, it was kind of like, all right, and the transition took longer. Speaking of still injury, I think it's important to talk about our defense. Bradley Chubb's coming back. Jalen Phillips is coming back. Then you have Zach Sealer and Chop Robinson. But what I want to talk about is Zach Sealer. Zach Sealer, I love this guy, right? He wanted to get paid more, and the contract worked out, so he's happy. But even through the contract negotiations, he came to practice every day, good attitude, mentor to the guys. Why is it that back in the day, even though players, I guess what I'm trying to say is, now you have a lot of players who, if they don't get paid, they don't want to play. When you played, I feel like they just pushed through it and made it happen. Why is it different these days with these kids who, you know, if they don't get their way, and even with the NBA draft, I don't want to compare different sports, but you saw the NBA draft this year, and there'd be guys who get drafted to Utah, and they have such a sour look on their face. What is this a generational thing? I mean, they should be grateful, but what's your take on that?
Yeah, you know, I kind of was, I think when I came in, it wasn't free agency. I think free agency came in maybe 92 or 93. And so even though I was still a very young player, I understood that that was a huge breakthrough for the players, because typically if a team had your rights, it was like, hey, we're going to pay you this amount of money, either take it or leave it. You had no bargaining power. You couldn't say, I'm going to go to, you know, Tampa Bay or Pittsburgh or whatever, because they had your rights. And then when free agency came, you could see a immediate escalation of the salaries, and say, okay, it's better because now teams can say, okay, even though you're a franchise player or a transitional player, we're willing to pay that and then compensate with draft pick stuff. So it gave the players a little bit more leverage on negotiating power, because now you weren't necessarily just stuck with this team until they said, either we're going to trade you or, you know, we're going to just cut you. We're done with you. And so I think it was a different appreciation because we were on the front end of it. Now it's been developed for almost 30 years now. We've had free agency. And so, you know, the money continues to go up, which is good. I'm happy for them, you know, this and that. But most of the time you don't see guys like Zach Sealer approach it the way that he approaches it. But hey, I'm gonna just go to work, do what I got to do, and then, you know, let the chips fall where they may, because a lot of players look and say, well, if I get hurt, I lose all my leverage or bargaining power. So I kind of understand it, but I think if you can just, it's a way you can do it. But I just don't like when it gets personal and, you know, you start bashing the team or the team start bashing you. You got to understand, you want to be there, but it's a business and you got to conduct yourself a certain way, because even after negotiations, you don't want to say a lot of stuff and then come back and regret it and say, man, I ain't have to go that hard, you know. So that's the main thing. I say, just kind of be careful, just kind of think before you just pop off and say whatever you want to say, because I know you're frustrated. And most of the time you might not get exactly what you want, but you should be happy by the time everything's over.
Exactly. And what's it showing to like the younger generation, the Pop Warner kids, you know, if they don't make the first teams, it's just, it trickles down to the younger generation and showing them entitlement and selfishness. So it's really a bigger thing. And you said it best.
Yeah, no, you have to see both sides of it. So Richmond nailed it. No doubt about that. Richard, I want to next bring up the culture change down here. And so, you know, Mike, specifically with Mike McDaniel, and, you know, he's going on year 4 now, has yet to win a playoff game. Last year, obviously a tremendous disappointment. You know, is it easy? How difficult or easy do you think it is for a coach to change his ways, specifically, you know, Mike McDaniel? And then you didn't really have to deal with that, because at Texas A&M, you had Jackie Sherrill. He was already established. He was a winning coach well before you got there. And then when you came down here, obviously Don Shula won plenty of games over. So you never had to deal with a coach that maybe had
trying to figure out their ways.
The locker room was trying to figure out what's going on there. So what do you see with this team and how they approach this situation and how they're trying to change their ways after the first 3 years of as head coach?
Yeah, I think the first couple of years, like, you used to being a coordinator, but it's totally different than being, I think, a head coach, because now you kind of from what I think, and I don't know because I've never coached, but I think you would let your coordinator kind of handle your defense, offense, and you might have some input if you're a defensive guy or offensive guy, but you kind of let them. You got to manage the game, the decision. Sometimes, do we go for it on first down, or do I throw the red flag? It's different little things you got to get used to doing it, because typically you're not used to doing that. But I think he kind of learned that. And then I think injuries have played a part to where it has kind of altered or maybe he hadn't got the results that he possibly wanted. And then other than that, I think it's just, certain things I think you just got to learn. But I think for the most part, I think most of the players, I think they really respect him and like him from what I've heard. I met him last year on the sideline right before the game, spoke to him right quick. And yeah, he seems like a really nice guy. So I think it's just getting guys to buy into his system. And I think at times, what I know is it seems like the first half of the season we come out smoking, but I think we've got to learn how to sometimes make adjustments at halftime with the offense, because once they've kind of seen it, they kind of figure it out and they know how to attack it. But you got to have if they figure this out, we got to counter. So it's like, just continue to learn to play chess and say, okay, I know when they do this, I'm going to come back, I'm going to set them up and hit them with this. But I know he feels the pressure, because I think just like a player or coach, you want to be successful at, anything you do. Because if you got any kind of competitiveness to you, you're not saying, well, I'm just happy to be here. No, you want to put your stamp on it. You want to go out there, win, and you want to go to the playoffs, and you want to see if you can get that team to the Super Bowl. And I think he has that in him. I think his approach is definitely different than Don Shula and Jimmy Johnson. But you got to do what works for you. You can't try to be somebody else, because it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Exactly. So I was just trying to picture the moment that you met Mike McDaniel, and Mike's a tiny guy, right? I mean, I'm 5'7" myself, a buck, whatever, but Mike's tiny. And I could imagine him just looking up to you, and you looking down on him. That should have been like a picture. That would have been such a great newspaper article.
Well, it was right before the game, and I shook his hand. I think Nat Moore actually introduced me, and I knew Gary Kubiak, because Gary Kubiak played at A&M, even though he's a little older than me. So somebody had told me that, like, way back in the game, he was a ball boy for the Broncos, or when Kubiak was. So I mentioned, I said, hey, Gary Kubiak told me to tell you hello, and his eyes lit up, and he's like, oh, we ain't tell you nothing bad. I said, no, we don't do that, bro. You good? I say, he ain't have nothing but high praise and marks for you. So that was pretty cool. But I said, yeah, when you throw a name at him, something like this, sometimes that breaks the ice in the conversation. So, but yeah, I was impressed with him. He seemed like a real cool guy.
No, that's awesome. All right, going back to the viewers, I got 2 questions on this topic from 2 different people, so we have to ask. I'm going to start the question by giving the backstory that, I don't know if you know Ron. Ron was the Broncos super fan of the year 2021.
I hadn't met him personally, but man, he's been a sounding board for me, and
yes, he has. It's been great.
I appreciate everything he does, but yeah, he's a good man.
He loves you. So we met him in Canton when we went there.
We were there for the Gold Jacket reception the Sunday after the enshrinement, and he was sitting next to us. He was trying to get Ron Grandishier into the Hall of Fame,
and he did.
And so then he heard loud and clear when they go around the round table, and each Hall of Famer gets their guy that they want to get in. And Zach Thomas, of course, said you. And we went nuts. He was a big fan of that. And so he's been, like you said, a great sounding board in spreading this message of trying to get you in.
So what he wants to do is he wants us to talk about the mutual respect between you and Bruce. But he wants me to give a little backstory. And I quote, he said, Bruce Smith had 3.5 sacks in 14 games versus you, 1 per 4 games, which is only about 25%. But in his other 265 games, he was 74%, 3 times more. So kind of like, so I want to talk about the respect that you guys had together. And then Mystico also said, how much of a challenge was it facing Bruce? So give us the Bruce 411.
Yeah. That was when I came in the league, it was Bruce Smith and Reggie White. That was just, those guys were there and everybody else was kind of below them. And the only good thing was Reggie was on the opposite side, thank goodness, because I didn't have to deal with him. And plus he was in the NFC, so that definitely was a plus. But just a guy that I just remember playing against him, that it was just 60 minutes of hell. I mean, it didn't help that he played for the Bills and I played for the Dolphins. And it took me a couple of games to figure it out. But back in the 90s, they don't do that no more. But everything's digital now. But we used to have these little media guides, and I was flipping through. I was like, man, why do they hate what's the deal? I couldn't figure out the rivalry because I was from Texas. I'm playing, and I was reading the little media guide, and I saw it, and I think in the 70s, the Dolphins beat the Bills like 20 times in a row, and I said, oh, that is right. I said, okay, I done found the sore spot. I can't get the splinter out, but I said, okay, yeah. That's it right there. And that was just, everybody talk about the sacks and this and that, but playing the run and trying to cut him off, he was a complete player. He wasn't just a guy that just was, trying to get sacks. He played on every down, and a lot of times he would slide down over the center, and they would move him around. But yeah, that was the toughest guy. And when the game was over, I knew the game was over because you left it all out on the field. But yeah, he was just that type of player.
And even off the, I'm sorry, Lou, even off the field, I mean, obviously there was social media back then where you could tweet him like da 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 da. Were there phone calls made? Did you guys ever sit down and have a dinner together? I'm curious to know if you had a relationship off the field.
You know what? I met him at the Pro Bowl. Him, Derek Thomas. I was thinking about going to rookie. All these guys you had to play against, and I remember my first one, and we played Kansas City in the playoffs. I had to play against Derek Thomas, and we were in Miami, and we had played Alabama when I was in college my junior year, and that was his senior year. And he came to me, he said, did you play when we played? I said, yeah. I said, I was a guard. And he said, oh, okay, because he had like maybe 4 sacks on us when they came. I mean, he was just, I think he had almost 50-something plus sacks in college. I mean, he was just yeah, you get to meet those guys. And then my good friend that passed away, he played for University of Miami, Cortez Kennedy. Yeah. I used to go to his football camps, and Bruce Smith, all us would all come up there and hang out. And then so I got to meet him off the field, and that's a good thing about, going to the Pro Bowl and meeting guys at different camps, stuff like that. You really kind of get to know him, even though you compete against him. Say, okay, yeah, this guy, he's he's a good guy, whatever. So he played for Buffalo, and I played. Yeah, that was it.
I still see them in my dreams. They're nightmares, I should say, because the Bills, man, they got the better part of us, throughout your whole career. And what was his big move? Did he have the swim move? Did he spin? Did he use them all?
Everything.
What did you have to prepare for coming at you?
Yeah, he pretty good coming around the corner. He had a spin move. He had 2 or 3 counter moves, but I think he kept good leverage. So you had to really stay low and anchor and engage with him, because he wasn't a big bull rush guy, but he did everything. He could bull rush, but mainly it was other things. But you still had to maintain leverage, because I was so much taller than him that sometimes I had to get down, because he would set you up. So yeah, he was hell of a player.
Yeah, no, and look, the whole team, man, right? Like Darryl Talley, Cornelius Bennett, and then on the offense, forget it. You got Andre Reed, Thurman Thomas was a killer, and Jim Kelly, could move, and Hall of Famer as well. Those Bills team, I mean, if we played a couple more times, were they just at another level where the Dolphins, unfortunately, were playing with a limited deck against that team? Was that team just that good?
Like
we couldn't get over the hump? Is that what it was, Richmond?
I think they were just a little bit better than us. And everybody talks about the offense, but like you said, you had Bruce Cornelius, you had Henry Thomas was a safety. They had good corners. And then Bryce Pop eventually went they were loaded. I always say this, that when they played the Giants that first Super Bowl, remember the field goal went, I think, wide, right or wide. If they'd have won that one, they probably would have won it. But it was just like they lost that one. I felt for sure they should have definitely won that one, but it wasn't in the cards for them that game. But yeah, that was it. And then they played. I think the Redskins got blew out, the Cowboys got blew out, and then the last time they played the Cowboys,
again,
it was a lot closer. But yeah, it was. For whatever reason that didn't work out, but to go 4 years in a row consecutively, that's not easy, whether you got injuries or whatever, and they got it done. And that's why I have a lot of respect for that team.
Yeah, no, and look, Brent just mentioned here about how Danny never had a running back. And then, it goes further than that. I mentioned the Bills 4 times, but also John Elway with the Broncos. So he went 5 times. So you got, John Elway and the Broncos and Jim Kelly and the Bills going 9 times at a Danny 17-year career and your 11-year career with the Dolphins. It's tough to beat a team like that when they, both had running backs and Thurman Thomas, and later on John Elway got Terrell Davis. So, it's tough to overcome that, but we sure as heck tried. I know you guys did.
Yeah. And Richmond, what we got to talk about before I let you go.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the Hall of Fame, because when we were in Canton with you 2 years ago, we gave out the towels people still talk about. We made ruffles, and we're still making the ruffles, so people still here. Let me bring this on as well. So, they got the shirts, they got the pictures. We're barking on social media. We're in the ears of everybody. The towels. We're trying. Your resume speaks for itself. And the stickers and everything.
Wristbands, we got it all.
We're a walking billboard,
Yeah.
So, another class went in. It was a small class this year. It was just 5 that went in.
4. Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Sterling Sharp, and Antonio Gates.
Antonio Gates. His speech made me cry a little bit. Antonio Gates, that was a beautiful speech at the end.
That was nice.
But we can't wait for the day until you're up there in the heat of August, crying like Zach Thomas, and it's going to be an amazing. So, guys, keep your thoughts with Richmond, because we continue to try to get him into Canton. It's going to be a sweet day, and we're excited for that to happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And did you play against? Did you get a chance to play against 2 of the guys this year, Eric Allen or Sterling Sharp?
Yeah, Eric Allen was with the Eagles when I was with the Dolphins. Or was he? I think he's with the Eagles, and then he went to the Saints, I think, after he left there. And then Sterling was at
the Packers.
And I think they came here one year, and he was still with the Packers, before he had that injury or whatever. So, but great guy. Met him, just him and his brother, Sterling, Shannon, just really good people. You would love them. So,
absolutely.
And so everybody, Bob Finstashen with the mask. He said we're going to do it.
Yeah, that's my man. Yeah, Bob.
He said we're going to do it. Adrian Rainy Day Pod, Richmond Webb Hall of Fame 2026. LaWanda, yes, let him in. Mira says yes, I can't wait. So.
Canton
is not going to be ready for that day. The hotel, everything, it's going to be.
Yeah.
And they're never going to see anything like that.
So, you made the semifinalists last year, the last 25 standing. So that was a big jump, and this year, again, we're going to keep on the campaign. I encourage everybody out there who's watching this now or will watch it later. Definitely, tag the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Everybody.
Tag the voters, because they need to know that this is not, we are serious. We mean business.
We do.
We are trying to get Richmond Webb into the Hall of Fame, get that gold jacket, and we're going to continue to do it this year and nonstop until you're finally in.
Harder every year.
Well, I appreciate that, and just the whole fan base, the way people embraced it, and wearing the shirts, the stickers, the wristbands, and just the support I get on social media and everything. I appreciate all of it. And even, like you said, Ron, from, a couple different fan bases, when those people chime in, it means a lot, because they're looking at what you did in the NFL and not saying, well, since he didn't play for my team, I'm not going to root for him. When you find that, you got to definitely be appreciative. So I appreciate everybody that, all the little effort they do, because they definitely don't have to do it, but it means the world to me, and I do appreciate it.
No, Richmond, it comes down to the fact that they know greatness, they know what you've done for the game, and they respect you. And, whatever color you wore on the field, they see what you did for the game, and that's what's amazing.
That's what
and Richmond, honestly, not even bringing politics into this, but you have so much support that I think if you ran for president, you would win. I think if you wanted to do a political campaign with all this support, not even from
I need to get some rest. That's a mean job there. I don't think I will.
Oh, yes, it is. Well,
all right, Richard Way, I got two more things really quick to get you out of here. Texas A&M, I know we talked about your Dolphins, but your Aggies are the 21st ranked team in the coaches poll.
Okay.
They're week 3, they're playing at Notre Dame. And of course,
we'll beat them up for you week 1. Don't worry.
Of course, you end the season against that other school in Texas. So how are you feeling about the Aggies this year?
I feel good. I felt good last year. I think we had some offensive line injuries early on, and then when we lost, I think we were playing South Carolina, and they were a really good team, but we lost Le'Veon Moss, which was our workhorse running back. So we getting him back, but we lost D-line. That was probably strong. I think we had like 2 or 3 of them get drafted. One in Cincinnati. I can't remember. We had a guy in the second round, but anyway. I think we still got depth. I think the Coach Elko, the guy, he's changing the mental part of it to where they're playing with a lot more mental toughness and stuff. So long as we can stay healthy. And like you said, I thought we played Notre Dame game 1, but we get a couple of tune-ups because we got to go to Notre Dame. And that's not going to be an easy place to play. But if we can kind of get off rolling, we should be okay. And then we got to go to Austin. When my man want me to throw up that.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Richard.
Don't be causing problems up there.
Quinn Ewers is in the right orange now.
I think I'm trying to think. It wasn't my. I think it might have been my sophomore year or junior year, but we played there in Austin, and it was a game that we had to win. If we won, we would go to the Cotton Bowl, which was the Southwest Conference champions, or if we lost, we would go to the Orange Bowl, but we wanted to go to the Cotton Bowl because you win the conference. And I remember we won that game, but they started throwing oranges on the sideline. I was like, man, but yeah, it's a good rivalry. It's kind of like Auburn, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, Miami. It's just one of them. So yeah, it is what it is. So yeah.
No doubt.
Richmond, I got
sorry. The last thing here. So, talking about uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
Dolphins are getting ready to release their throwback uniforms that they're going to be wearing, and they're also going to do a rivalry uniform. But I want to know from Richmond Webb's mouth, which one did you like better? You like wearing the aqua, or did you like wearing the white? What was your preferred Dolphin jersey that you like to be in?
I'm going to tell you what. The one with the white jersey with the aqua, that's what we wore most of the time. I used to like the white on white jersey, white pants, and I always liked the aqua jersey with the white pants. But, but that was, for whatever reason, I understood. They said Coach Shula would like us to wear the white jerseys because it would be so hot in South Florida, and then have the visitors wear the dark colored jerseys. So, hey, any edge Coach Shula thought he was going to get, that's what he was doing. So.
That's right.
LaMonda said 78 aqua white. Yeah, that was her favorite too. So, Richard, I'm going to leave you with this. Bob just wrote something beautiful in the chat, and it truly speaks to what all of us say and believe. It's easy to root for Richmond, not only for his play, but more for his genuine humility, character, and kindness. He is the single easiest person to pull for to the Hall of Fame for that reason alone. I had the pleasure of witnessing his entire Dolphins career. I am blessed.
I appreciate you, brother.
Those are beautiful words.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But he speaks for all of
Yes,
us,
we do.
and I hope you know how much you mean to us, not only what you did for your career with the Dolphins, but even more the type of person you are today, how much love that you show for our fan base, what you've done for the franchise, and just the person you are. So we are grateful and blessed to not only have you have played for our team, but just to know you.
Well, I'm a fan now, so I get to hang out with you guys.
Look, we're cool people.
We're fortunate.
I'm in the fan base now, so that's why y'all see me bouncing around with you guys.
It's amazing.
Love it.
Well, Richmond, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. It's always great catching up with you, my big brother. I'm so excited that you're going to be coming to 4 games this year, so they have to win those 4 games. If not, you're going to have to just go in and play. So definitely bring those aqua jerseys and those white pants just in case, because if you need to suit up, you may need to suit up.
That might be a little tight. I don't know if I can get back in no pants.
Well, I don't know anybody whose clothes get looser as they get older. Richmond, I'm in the same boat. Ain't nothing. We'll figure it out, man. We will figure it out. But always a pleasure catching up with you. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. And
where can so did you get the company for the?
You're not going to speak with him.
I don't know, but I wanted to get it out to the people. If anybody wants to join, and anything else that you want to make mention of, Richmond, by all means, please share.
Yeah, I think. Let me see here.
He did mention that he's going to be going to. Well, he's going to be at Carolina, Charlotte with the TPP,
and maybe Buffalo,
and possibly Buffalo.
But Buffalo here.
Buffalo down here.
Yeah.
So. And going to Madrid, which is going to be awesome. The first ever game in Spain. That's going to be a big deal. I know Richmond spent some time in Miami, so he's well versed in his Spanish.
Tapas, sangria, and vino. Those are your 3 words. He's going to have a great time.
I'd like to see Richmond do a little bullfighting. Wouldn't that be
Ole, ole, ole. I'm scared of him. We're supposed to go around him.
My money's on Richmond.
Supposed to say, oh, danger.
Okay. So it's executiveglobaltours.com. The number, you can call them at 914-979-2247, or you can email them at executiveglobaltours.com, and tours with an S. So, yeah.
So you heard it, Executive Global Tours, if you want to go hang out with Richmond and boys in Madrid.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Come on, hang out with me. I miss y'all. Y'all come hang out with me.
I'm working on it, Richmond.
I know, Lou. I ain't gonna get you in no trouble yet.
I have a big work commitment that weekend, so unfortunately I cannot make it. But we will get the other 4. But we'll see you this season. But anyways, Richmond, always great seeing you. You know I love you, and we will see you in person soon.
All right, love you too. Thanks for having me on the show again. I appreciate it.
Take care, Richmond.
Please, our pleasure. We'll catch up with you.
All right.
Thank you.
I love him so much.
He is the best
of the best.
Man,
he is the best. What's that song? He is the best.
He's the best.
Of the best.
The Karate Kid theme. Yeah, no, we really need to keep on, and we're going to do it bigger and better this year, just to let everybody know that he needs to be in Canton, Ohio. And so no one deserves it more than him. So
he's the best.
He is the greatest.
Talking about the best. You're not gonna like this. The Marlins. Sorry, I'm so happy with them recently, guys. They swept the Yankees last weekend. 3-game series down here in Lone Depot Park. Friday was such a nail biter, and even after Friday when that game ended, it was so hard to go to sleep. And I can't remember the last time any of my teams got you so excited that you feel like you couldn't even go to sleep after. So the Marlins did that on Friday. We were there Sunday when they finished the sweep against the Yankees. So it was a fantastic weekend for Marlins baseball. Fortunately, the Astros came to town with Correa and Jesus Sanchez. Astros took 2 from us. We only got 1, but now we're playing 5 games in 4 days at Truist Park in Atlanta against one of our arch nemesis, the Atlanta Braves, rivals, Atlanta Braves in the NL East with us. So 5 games in 4 days up in Atlanta.
Yeah, no, it's a tremendous story. If you don't get a chance to go out and support the team, they deserve it. Go out to the ballpark. They're playing, winning baseball. Are they up right now? Are they up? So if we win tonight, we're back at 500. So we shall see. Good score, good bad score.
Hold on.
Okay. Well, either way, they're doing as best as they can. Certainly better than what people expected. So it's a great story developing. So we'll continue.
I like my view over here. It gives us the gaps. We're not on top of each other.
Okay.
6-5, bottom of the 6th. Marlins are winning.
All right. So they hold on. They'll be back at 500. That's great. So, but look, the main thing that everybody in SoFLo is talking about, besides Richmond Webb being in the Hall of Fame, is football is back. The Dolphins start on Sunday. But they're going to first scrimmage the Chicago Bears this tomorrow, actually, Friday. They're going to be doing a scrimmage against the Bears, so that's great. And what are you most looking forward to in this scrimmage tomorrow and in the game on Sunday?
I'm just ready to have football back. I wish we were actually going to that. I know it's just like a preseason, all that scrimmage and stuff. Chicago's one of my favorite cities. We went to the Dolphins Bears game, 2 or 3 years ago was November. Soldier Field is amazing. They are going to be making a new stadium eventually, but it's just a fun place to play. A lot of Dolphin fans up in Illinois area. So even though, again, it's preseason scrimmage, you are still going to see a lot of our passionate fans in that area. I'm just excited to have football back, like I mentioned, to see these guys really out there. You know that our starters are not going to have that much playing time because we got to keep them healthy, but that gives the guys who maybe will not get as much light time to really shine. So that's always fun as well.
Yeah, and the most important thing is obviously Tua plays maybe 1 to 2 series and get him out of there, and I hopefully not see him in the preseason, postseason, yes, but not the preseason after this Sunday. But yeah, guys, remember, if you're in the chat, if you're in X, come on over to YouTube. Definitely like tonight's episode and definitely subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Brent mentions the running of the Bulls. That would have been very exciting to see Richmond and the Bulls going at it. Robert or Lawanda says, thank you. We love you as well. Robert says he's a great interview. Absolutely.
He's the funnest.
Richmond gives it to you like he says it. So
Kyle Stowers. When we first got Kyle Stowers from the Orioles, Lou was kind of like, oh, I don't know about this. Has this boy made a 180 U-turn here, because you went from not really liking Kyle Stowers or not even maybe believing in him to riding his train.
Well, Brent's an Oriole fan too, so he saw him up front, and he's probably regretting that trade. So, but no, they've been doing good. Going back to the Dolphins, what I'm looking for is how the defensive unit's going to do, because the Bears obviously drafted Caleb Williams. He's a franchise quarterback. They signed 3 offensive linemen in free agency. And they also drafted 3 offensive linemen. They also drafted a tight end. They already had a starting tight end, so they may put out a couple of 2 tight end sets. So I'm excited to see how this revamped Chicago Bears offensive line that they invested heavily in, including the top center in free agency, Drew Dahlman, was a top free agent center by everybody's account. He went to the Bears. So I'm interested to see how our rookies, Kenneth Grant, Zeke Biggers,
to break that,
Jordan Phillips, see how those guys are able to get some pressure and do against that new offensive line for the Bears. So
Robert's coming down for camp, and he goes, I'll see the Marlins in 2 weeks. He's actually staying at the Best Western Plus. We set him up over there, so he's staying at the 305 Sports Travel Hotel. You're going to have a blast. If we come over to hang out, don't be surprised, because we just love it over there. Yeah, guys, that's our sponsor, the sponsor of the 305 Sports Travel, and also the SoFLo Sports Show. It's a tremendous property. We've been there several times. A block and a half away from the beach. Got a tremendous pool. The breakfast was amazing. So great place to be if you're coming down for, unfortunately, no training camp for 2 weeks now. But watch my video in the meantime.
Yes.
I feel like you're at training camp.
Ashley did a great job. She, we took some footage and she narrated perfectly. So if you've ever wondered what it's like to be at Dolphins training camp, definitely log back onto the channel. It's the episode or the video right before this one tonight, and give it a like and check it out. It's a pretty cool video. And as always, guys, like tonight's episode and subscribe. Guys, one more thing before we let you go. Canes camp is in full effect. That's right. I personally work in Coral Gables, and I just want to scoot and go see what's going on, because I know the hype's there. They opened up their season against Notre Dame. Huge game to open up your season with. Usually we open up against like a Bethune or something like that. FAMU, right. But this is like a big game. They're ripping the Band-Aid off and going right to it. And Notre Dame, as you remember, played in the national championship game last year, killed against Ohio State, but still, they're the national championship runner-up. And you're starting the season. You're coming down here to the Hard Rock on Sunday night. It's the only game that day. August 28th. It's the day before Labor Day. Yeah, day before Labor Day. That's Sunday night, 7:30 at the Hard Rock. And the coaches poll was just released. The Hurricanes are ranked number 10. Notre Dame is ranked number 5. So you have a number 5 versus number 10 ranking. Go back to the old days, the Catholics versus the Convicts. Big rivalry, Notre Dame and Miami. Jimmy Johnson kind of started that. So it's a big deal for those
Carson
two teams.
Beck up there as QB. And then another thing is the Canes are actually projected as the number 2 team in the ACC behind Clemson. So that's but Clemson obviously has their backing with that. So it's a very exciting year for the Canes, and we're still riding them last year. It was a great season. I just wanted more, right? It's kind of
Yeah.
like we didn't get this. I say this phrase sometimes. We didn't get this far just to get this far. And I used it with St. John's during the March Madness when we got knocked out by the Razorbacks. I was like, we didn't have a season like this just to get this far, and I want to go further. So I kind of felt like that with the Canes. So I think this is a good year to really, again, put our name back on the map and to show a little more.
No doubt, they'll have an opportunity, a great opportunity to kick off the season against again the team that was in the championship game last year.
Yeah.
5th ranked, they could definitely move up the polls right away by getting a victory at home against Notre Dame. So,
guys, one more thing before we let you go. If you are on our social media, Big E Strong bracelet. So our friend Ian Berger, Big E, has cancer and is currently being treated at UPenn up in Pennsylvania, starting his chemo and radiation real soon. And it's going to be a few weeks as he does that twice a day. Big E is a big supporter of DCC, Dolphins Challenge Cancer, and he raises a lot of money. And we want to help him with his fundraising efforts because he still wants to raise it, but he's not going to be able to be as hands-on because he's going to be, getting his treatments. So we're selling the Big E Strong bracelets. If you look at the top, this the Big E Strong, that's actually a mock-up of what the bracelets are going to look at. They are $6. They are pre-ordered, and when they come in 2 weeks, I'm personally shipping it out to everybody. So guys, to order yours, either Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, all proceeds are going to Big E's DCC. We are able to put in $1,012 into his account just today, and more money even came out after that. Richmond donated today. The Big O donated today. So, guys, please, if you can, it's $6. It's a beautiful bracelet to wear all season to remember Big E and to keep him strong and to show him we are supporting him. So if you are interested, reach out to me and order your Big E bracelets.
Yeah, keep him in your thoughts and prayers, and he needs the moral support. We saw him at training camp a couple of weeks ago, and that was his therapy, right? His therapy is being out there. He is the #1 Dolphin supporter that anybody knows about, and this is, like I said, this is his therapy. This is what keeps him upbeat. He's doing his treatments in Pennsylvania. He's going up there with his Dolphin gear. He's trying to convert the nurses and doctors to become Dolphin fans. So the best thing we could do is to support him, be there for him, and just uplift him during this time.
I agree. So order your Big E bracelets, and as soon as they come in 2 weeks, I'll ship them out to you.
Yeah. So
definitely. All right, guys. Well, it has been fun. But the real highlight of this episode, besides us just talking about Marlins baseball, because I know that you guys just love it, was obviously having Richmond Webb on the show tonight. So thank you to everyone who has submitted questions. We were able to shoot them all at him, and Richmond is just such an amazing individual, such a kind-hearted soul. And I mean, we've had him on the show many times before. We've had events with him, and he is just the best. So for those who haven't met him in person, I sure hope you get to meet him because he really is like that big in person. I actually just want to leave you with this picture here, these 2 pictures. This is us when we hung out with him in Canton. I mean, I'm like about 5, 6.5. You're what, 6?
I'm 6, but yeah, you got to look up to Richmond.
And this is a good one too. So
this is in Houston. We had a tremendous turnout. Everybody came out to support and see Richmond. And this was a great gathering in his hometown in Houston. And so that was awesome. The only thing that didn't happen is the Dolphins didn't win that game. But besides that, everything else was marvelous that weekend. And again, the great Richmond Webb, anytime you can spend time and talk to him is a good day. We are greatly appreciative of it. And we can't wait to see him again soon.
All right, guys. So until next time, enjoy your weekend. Get a little dose of Dolphins football this weekend. So take advantage of that. Also, Marlins again, 5 games in 4 days in the ATL, Truist Park. So a lot going on there, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Yep. All right, guys, we have a good night and a good weekend ahead, and fins up.
Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel.
Good night, guys.
Night.